You know, there are moments as a creator that catch you completely off guard. One of them is just that opening sentence, the referring to myself as a creator. That's been a hard one for me to grasp lately, but that is essentially what we have become here, a creator of content that people use. And as I allow myself to adopt that role, I do have experiences that really kind of throw me. And what happened to me recently was indeed one of those moments. Now, the other day, I made a short video from my car while I was picking my kid up at band camp post-dinner session. And I made that because my own teenager came home from said band camp for dinner, and she was exhausted. She was frustrated. And honestly, she wasn't very pleasant to be around. And it wasn't like what some other viewer said. They said, when I was talking about the hard parts of band camp, and they said, you got to remind them that they come home and they smell like goats. It wasn't that. It wasn't her appearance. It wasn't her smell of band camp. It wasn't the overwhelming smell of suntan oil, which I'm not a fan of, but she just wasn't very pleasant to be around. I mean, it wasn't theoretical. It wasn't scripted from a book. This whole situation that I outlined in the video happened at my own dinner table. So I took the moment while I was sitting there waiting for her to talk to the parents. And I talked about emotional regulation, about understanding what our students have actually been through before we have a tendency to react, about holding boundaries while still leading our kids with empathy. And with that, I expected parents to respond. They did. And they did respond overwhelmingly positively. There were a few haters in there, but that comes with the territory. But what I didn't expect, because I've never had this draw on this demographic, was the students. I mean, every once in a while, one of them slips in there. And because I speak primarily to parents and directors and booster boards and the nonprofit people. But every once in a while, you know, the algorithm sees that I am maybe speaking in the direction of a student, and then it starts to put it in front of the younger audience. But they piled in. Hundreds, if not thousands of them. I wasn't expecting that at all. And some of them thanked me. Like, hey, thanks, we've been heard. Some laughed. Some even tagged their parents. But the comments that stayed with me were much quieter. They were things like, I wish my parents would hear this. Can you make my mom watch this? Can you get this on my dad's FYP? My dad thinks band is just a hobby. Those comments stopped me because they reminded me of something that I think we all forget. Every rehearsal has two performances. There's the one on the field, and then there's the one that happens when the students go home. And that's where this episode begins. To the students. If you feel unseen, I'm glad you're here. I can't promise I know your story. I don't. I mean, some of you, I know, have incredible parents. Those are the ones that actually communicate with me now. Before you ever found me, probably. And some of you have parents who are absolutely overwhelmed. Some of you have parents who don't understand your passion. And some are carrying hurts that are much bigger than marching band. I won't pretend to know which is true for you, but I do know this. You deserve to be heard. And your parents deserve the opportunity to hear you before we even assume that they never will. Learning to communicate with people who don't naturally understand you is not just a family skill. It's a life skill. You're going to use it in college. You'll use it at work. You'll use it in marriage. You're going to use it on leadership teams. You're going to use it in every meaningful relationship that you're ever going to have moving forward. This band experience that you're in, maybe it's orchestra, maybe it's choir, maybe it's theater. Regardless, these experiences that you're having right now are going to teach you more than music. Sometimes it's teaching you how to have hard conversations with grace. And to the parents, please remember, your child doesn't need you to become a musician. They don't need you to know what an 8-to-5 drill set is. They don't need you to know what rigging points are. They don't need you to know what a grand curtain is. They don't need you to know how many counts are in the closer. What they need from you is for you to become curious. Ask questions. Listen. Celebrate what matters to them because it matters to them. That simple act builds trust that lasts far beyond high school. To the directors and the staff, never underestimate what you represent here. For some students, you're the first adult who notices when they're struggling. For others, you're the first adult who expects something great from them. I mean, listen, you may never know which conversation you have with a student will change a life. Keep having them. To the booster parents, I want you to understand that you're building much more than props. You're doing more than pulling a trailer. Much more than uniforms. Much more than running a concession stand. Every bottle of water that you hand out, every trailer that you unload, every meal that you serve, every ride that you may coordinate to get a student to and from rehearsal or to and from a competition, you're helping build an environment where students feel supported. Never underestimate that. And to our communities, if you happen to wander in here and listen to our conversation, I want you to hear me. Support your arts programs. Show up to the performances. Respond to the flyer that you see posted around town about the youth theater having an opening night. Support your programs. Not because every student will become a professional musician or a professional actor or professional whatever, but because every student will become a professional something. Okay? Have hope for these kids. They're going to become something. Music teaches discipline. Theater teaches confidence. Dance teaches resilience. Art teaches creativity. The leadership roles that these students take in these programs teaches service. None of those are extracurricular skills. These are life skills. People often ask me what Soundstage EDU actually is. Sometimes I say it's governance. Sometimes it's audio. Sometimes it's leadership. Sometimes it's culture. Sometimes it's mentorship. The truth is, those are just the vehicles. The destination has always been the same. We're trying to raise remarkable human beings. Marching band just happens to be one of the best classrooms that I personally have ever seen. Not because of the trophies, not because of the scores, but because every day it gives us another opportunity to teach courage, humility, respect, service, resilience, and empathy. And if we can send students into the world who know how to work hard and lead well and listen deeply and care for the people around them, then we've accomplished something much bigger than a halftime show. We've built a better generation. And if that's what we're doing together, then every rehearsal, every fundraiser, every volunteer shift, every late night equipment repair, and every difficult conversation that we had to have was worth it. So let's keep raising the bar together.